Throughout Malaysia's economic reforms, small and medium businesses have always played a role in the growth of our economy, and women's contributions have been invaluable. Hello everyone. Globally, women have not always been recognized for their contribution to global development and growth. We know that women entrepreneurs are a vital part of Malaysia's economic growth, and we are supporting them. We also want to recognize female representation in maritime. I'm Deborah Henry, and this is Women Talk.
And I'm Siti Saleha. I'm excited to be co-hosting with you, Deborah, on another amazing episode. And joining us today, we have two successful business owners who will be sharing with us their journeys and experiences. Please welcome to the show Mandy, Leong, and Abdul Karim. Thank you for being here with us.
Hi. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here, ladies. So despite what many think, women have always been involved in commerce and trade. And I think perhaps it's not really spoken about enough. And now with changing times, with more opportunities, we see women entrepreneurship on the rise over the years especially. And you see it in the forms of in big business, in the corporate sector, but also these accidental home businesses where someone started a business and before you know it, they've blown up. So both of you have very successful businesses. Can you please tell us a little bit more about your businesses? We can start with you, Yasmin.
Okay, so Pops Malaya was born actually in a home kitchen. I was a single mother. I had a toddler clinging to my legs, and it was still a side hustle for me. I was working a full-time job, so at night I would be making my popsicles, and during the weekends I would be selling it at food festivals around town. So fast forward 6 years later, now we operate from a 4-story, 50,000 square feet factory.
Fantastic.
We are HACCP, GMP, ISO 22000 certified, and we export to 7 countries.
Wow, that's like your story in a nutshell.
And how about yourself, Mandy?
Yeah, I started my business during my school time when I was studying from 6. And I sell to my friends and others, and I became a wholesaler. And at last, I launched a brand, and now we are in 1,700 over stores in Malaysia for FMCG channels. Yeah.
What are the characteristics required to become successful, just like the two of you?
I think take the risk. Yeah, I think be very coverage, and you need to determine to and focus to what you're doing right now.
It's a calculated risk.
Yes.
Not too. Yeah,
or you're just like, let's wing it and see what happens, sort of.
I think that time I was like too innocent to do whatever that I really want to do. Yeah, so that time I just humped on everything that I have in my bag.
We'll try it all, see what works.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Yasmin?
For me, when I started out, my mindset was completely broken. There were things that I thought I should know, but I didn't. And of course, there was never enough funds. But I had the audacity to believe that I could be resourceful enough to just figure things out along the way and make it happen.
But often there's this narrative out there that, you know, a lot of women, if you have a business idea, if you're, as you were doing a sort of a home-based business, when you look to taking it to the next level and you say, hey, there's something here, do you get that right support? Do you get people just sort of go, oh, okay, it's nothing, she's just like a mom, you know, it's for fun, it's something she does on the weekend? How do you get people to take you seriously?
What's most important is traction, because you need to be able to prove that you are able to land your first customers, for them to buy your products at the price point where you are able to make a healthy margin. As families are concerned, I think it's important to reframe the narrative. Sometimes you feel that, oh, my family is not rooting for me, they're not supportive enough, whereas if you flip it around, actually perhaps they love you too much that they can't bear to see you fail, given how risky business is.
You must have a very good product or good service that you really deserve what the customers pay for that.
Right, I think that's a really valid point.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a quick commercial break now, but when we come back, touching on your point, Yasmin, you can have a great business idea, but if you don't have the money, the funding behind it, it may not go anywhere. So we're going to find out a little bit more about, you know, budding entrepreneurs out there, how you can get the moolah. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back to Women Talk. Today we're discussing women making waves in business with our two guests, Mandy, Leong, and Abdul Karim.
So just before we went to break, we were talking about fundable ideas, right? And you can have the best business idea in the world, but you don't have the money, it's going to be hard to grow. So how did you guys navigate that somewhat scary world of raising capital for your business?
When it comes to SME funding, there's several options. There's crowdfunding, which is like a poor man's IPO. Then you have soft loans, and also you have grants issued by the federal and the state government. The most coveted is, of course, the grants, because you don't have to give away your equity. There's no interest most often, and you don't even have to pay it back. But of course, the government would expect some form of return on investment, just not in the monetary sense.
Right.
So sometimes they give out funds to empower minority entrepreneurs, women, or to reward innovation. Like as for myself, we receive grants from Matrade to offset international exhibitions, from HDC, which funded our audit for food safety management, many others like MTDC. They gave us grants and loans to increase our capacity. So KPDAN, HEP, Seri, Mara, you just have to, do your research on what are the grants out there and, pursue it.
Yeah, there actually are a lot of agencies out there that provide different types of grants, as you mentioned, different levels, different businesses. You got to look for it.
So Mandy, how about yourself? Because you are in the cosmetic world, right? How do you see the competition? I'm sure, especially the local brands,
super competitive.
They're doing a lot of things, and there's dropships lah, and like agents lah. So how are you doing with the competition?
Yeah, I think during this pandemic, I mean, the last 2 years, right, is really, really harmful to the whole beauty industry. And I actually managed to survive. Is because we actually pivot the business from color cosmetic to skincare, which are actually more in demand. And also, for example, like, I mean, most people are wearing masks right now, right? So we have to like launch some of the new products that can help to remove the maskne, that, the acne that caused by the mask.
Oh, that's a new term. Maskne.
Yeah, sort of that. And we actually utilize the influencers, traffics and leads. Like currently they are very famous on TikTok and all this. We tried to launch some campaign and some promotions to monetize the followers. Yeah.
I mean,
by educating them, the good way and also the correct ways of using the makeups and all, like how to take care of the skin.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's been a big test for so many small businesses. You have to adapt to stay alive. Otherwise, there just wouldn't be a possibility.
How do you keep the business going? I'm sure every morning you're writing new ideas, right? Of what
you have to have a strong to-do list.
Exactly. But as you were mentioning earlier, Yasmin, you talked about Halal Development Corp. So we want to take a little video and see this is what they had to say when it comes to access to funding.
HDC is an agency under the Ministry of International Trade and Industry that acts as the central coordinator for the halal industry that promotes participations and facilitates the growth of industry players in the developments of Malaysia's halal ecosystem. Our role as the industry development is to increase the competitiveness of the inclusive halal industry via the 4 focus areas that industry governance, which looking at the policy and governments, industry competitiveness, toward SME internationalizations, and we have one iconic program that is Halal Sourcing Partnership Program, or also known as HSPP. HDC also provides solutions for businesses to excel in the market spaces through our services in training in halal best practices, audits and consultations in businesses and halal certifications, and also through our halal integrated platform that provides a bridge between halal local industry players with other stakeholders. The Malaysian government has provided many linkages for financial assistance, especially for local businesses to benefit. HDC, through our halal integrated platforms, offering financial assistance at a better rate compared to the normal rates. During the pitching sessions, Pops Malaya has been selected as a potential supplier to Lulu Group International, but still they have gaps that need to be addressed. The 2 identified gaps are, number 1, the needs of international certifications, HACCP. In year 2020, Pops Malaya has been awarded with HACCP certifications. With this certification, the company improved their product quality and consistency, increase their market access, and increase customers' confidence level towards their products. The second one is branding, that is digital branding. In year 2021, HDC has awarded Pops Malaya with digital branding facilitation with Google. With this facilitation, it's helped to increase the company's visibility, obtain quality leads, and increase their sales.
Wow. So I'm sure like there's a lot of people out there who wants to start up, and they have a lot of business ideas. So what are your advice out there for those who want to start up? How do you encourage them to take it seriously and hold on to that passion and ambition?
If you are measuring yourself against people who, are chapters away from you, it's just going to be very overwhelming. And also, I feel that execution is key. You can have the best ideas in the world, but the most important thing is if you have a business plan, make it happen.
Yeah, I think if you have a very good product and you have a very good service that you really want to deliver to your consumers, and you have the missions that you want to achieve, don't care everything, just go for it first. Yeah, then you will know how you will figure out during the journey.
Yeah, so it's a learning process, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah. And finally, advice. Being where you are today, knowing what you know now, is there advice you would give to yourself all those years ago, or advice, to someone out there?
You have to, aggressively pursue opportunities. Sometimes business is about, luck meets preparation, meet God's blessings, in a sense. And also sometimes it takes patience to wait for the outcome, the fruits of your labor, to finally be able to harvest that.
My advice is that if you want to do a sustainable business, don't do for money. Yeah, do for value. Yeah, because of the money will come. If you are really achieving your missions and you want to do something and creating the values to the society, the money will come later.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant advice. Very often we're so focused on money and we're not actually delivering quality products, value. At the end of the day, people like value, they want value. And I think Malaysian shoppers are also becoming a lot more discerning in terms of how they spend their money as well, right?
Yep.
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much, ladies, for being on the show with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and thank you. And we wish you all the best. You've surfed the pandemic. You're still here. And, onwards and upwards.
Keep it going.
Thank you. All right. And we're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we're going to be moving on to our special segment, Women in Maritime. Welcome back to Women Talk's special segment celebrating Women in Maritime in conjunction with International Day for Women in Maritime.
And to celebrate with us, we have two distinguished guests. Please welcome Malaysia's Minister of Transport, Datuk Seri Dr. Siong, and Puan Hakimah binti Saiful Bahri from MyWIMA, Women in Maritime Association Malaysia. Welcome to the studio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for being here. So, International Day for Women in Maritime is to celebrate and recognize women working within the maritime industry. But how did this idea first come about, Datuk? But before that, if you could maybe tell us a little bit more about what are the jobs related to maritime?
A simple definition, I think maritime is any activities related to sea, or whether it's navigational or the port activities. Basically, most of the trade in Malaysia, 90%, by sea travel. Meaning that all the transportation of goods is through ports. So that shows the importance of this sector, maritime industry.
Over 90%, wow.
Yeah,
Big
90%.
industry.
Yes.
In fact, the International Maritime Organization, IMO Assembly, held in December last year, they have adopted a resolution declaring an International Day for Women in Maritime, and to be observed on the 18th May every year. And this observance will celebrate women in the industry, and is intended to promote what we call the recruitment, retention, and also the sustained employment of women in the maritime sector, and raise the profile of women in maritime, and most importantly, for IMO to show the commitment to the UN, what we call United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 5 on gender equality, and also support work to address the current gender imbalance in maritime. And we will host a seminar that is to what we call to to be attended by the industrial players, especially the women.
Why is it such an important milestone for women who are, participation from the Maritime Association Malaysia?
So this seminar is intended to provide a platform for women in maritime in Malaysia, which already reach a leadership positions and demonstrate tacit knowledge sharing of importance of gender balance and diversity within the industry in Malaysia. So during that event, women in maritime Malaysia would gather in one ballroom, a very rarely seen event, even in the world.
And I believe, Hakimah, you said before that you are of higher position. You're a captain of a boat or something like that.
I haven't reached that position, soon to be.
That's amazing.
But I'm glad to share that after 11 years, I've reached the position as a senior officers on board the ship, deck department. I'm the chief officer and also the senior dynamic positioning officer on board the ship diving support vessel.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Still actively sailing.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the actual event itself? Where is it? How do women participate? How do they be part of the event?
This event will be organized on the 18th May itself at the International Hotel Intercontinental Kuala Lumpur. And then we really hope that female across the industry will participate as much as those who interested to join the field. They can also register themselves on the MyWima website. We also have our social media account, which is MyWima on the Instagram, on the Facebook, as well as LinkedIn. For those who still don't know how to make their way in the industry because they always think that this is a male-dominated world, I myself will be given a talk on how to become a senior dynamic positioning officer in Malaysia.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Dr. Wee, can we talk a little bit about numbers? How does Malaysia fare globally with female representation in the sector?
In Malaysia, based on the national record from 2018 to 2022, we have a total 28,411 local seafarers. And the percentage of female seafarers in Malaysia was about 3.2%, outperformed the global average. And we have 909 seafarers, female seafarers. But the remaining 96.5%, which is 27,421, was just male seafarers. So I must say that the percentage is very small. And there's room for women to participate in this industry. And women are either unaware of the what they call the rewarding career prospects in the maritime sector. And often they have this what we call, I would say, the entrenched social cultural bias against them in this industry. So I mean, it's often they have to face some what do you call the gender discrimination, and also the so-called sexual harassment. I mean, these are the perception of the women, where we need to correct it to make sure that they come in and they join this industry. And I must say that in Malaysia, the women participation is in the seafaring community is very small. We still need to increase the number, and this is important because by recognizing women as maritime labour will strengthen the Malaysian maritime human resources, which are partially and occupied by the foreign seafarers. The salary that they receive is more than the
It's quite nice. It's a
quite
nice
nice, I would say.
nice number.
I cannot say very high, but it's considered as very comfortable.
Okay.
In a very comfortable range, and it's good prospect for any women who want to take part in this industry.
That's awesome. So, Hakimah, can you tell us more about MyWima?
Okay, the initiative to establish MyWima is rooted back to the International Maritime Organization, who is committed to promoting gender equality and diversity, encouraging women in seafaring careers and maritime leadership. During this event, we will have female leaders serving the maritime sector in Malaysia, whereby the speakers include women in ports, surveyors, seafarers, freight forwarders, maritime educators, haulage and third-party providers. Interestingly, we also provide a launching montage to national single documentary video entitled Journey of 1,000 Miles of Women in Maritime Malaysia, #Break the Bias, whereby you could enjoy snapshots of the video, encourage women in maritime out there to be part of our event, and also enjoy the video of us in the workforce promoting Malaysia's promising maritime economy.
And finally, Datuk, we just to ask you a little bit more about the role the government is playing in really encouraging. What are some of the initiatives you're running to encourage women to participate, and your hopes as well for the industry looking forward?
So in line with the theme, Break the Bias, so MOT is working very hard reducing the huge disparity between male and female in the maritime sector. And in fact, the ministry aspiration is to achieve a barrier-free for women to participate in this industry. And according to the research, countries with more gender equality have better economic growth. That is to say, equality for women means progress for all. So with that in mind, we need to encourage, and we work closely and collaborate with MyWima as well as ICMA, and then we formulate this action plan to to increase national awareness on job opportunity for women.
Thank you so much, Datuk. Thank you so much,
for your time.
Hakimah. And thank you for sharing with us. There are so many opportunities for women, even in industries we wouldn't typically consider. And to know that we're really being very proactive in taking the right decisions to encourage more women to, try new things, to do new things.
#Break the Bias.
Exactly. And whether micro business owners, entrepreneurs, corporate sector, that have traditionally been very male-dominated. Female contributions, as Dr. We said, are invaluable to the economic and social sector as well. So simply put, women in business makes perfect business sense. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Influencers and the value that they are actually able to bring to brands, but at the same time, the Malaysian digital marketing arena is not quite as mature as perhaps looking at some of our ASEAN neighbours.
It's always healthy to open up the market for the younger generation to be involved in business, because I'm always into that, right? And I started really young. So when I see younger people that is like following my footsteps, by all means, I'm like, I will support 100%. So it will definitely be healthy, not just because they are very popular on Instagram. So obviously other younger people would follow them, like my daughter.